Good evening.
Kavod Harav, how are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're going to continue with Yosef. Here it says, oh, wait a second. This is, yeah, we finished this. We got to go to the next chapter. Okay, so it says the two here. Does everybody hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So it says, כל הפטורים מקריאת שמע, כגון שעוסקים במצווה או בתקינות מצווה, whoever is going to be absolved from קריאת שמע because he's doing a mitzvah or some kind of effort, some kind of mitzvah effort, פטורים מן התפילה, he's also absolved from the tefillah, from the עמידה. ועודף עליהם חילופי נושא המיטה. And the same thing also applies the truth is when it says odef alehem, it means even more, right? Even more so. When it comes to, carrying the coffin during the funeral procession, then lemitat tzorich behen, and they don't really need them. Shepturim min hatfilah, they're absolved from tefillah. Af al pi shechayim b'kriyat shema, even though they're obligated in kriyat shema. V'nashim ve'abadim chayavim ba. So he says, but the women and the slaves are obligated. So what does that mean? That even though the women are absolved from Kriyat Shema, when it comes to Tefillah, they're obligated. Okay. So I'll put you guys on the top here. Very good. So let's go to Beit Yosef. So the truth is that the Beit Yosef wait a second, maybe I skipped something here. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't the right one. I skipped one chapter, so I'll read the tour one more time. It says like this, actually a very short one, I think. Yeah, very short. So it says, if you're praying one prayer after the other, or let's say regarding Musaf, right? First Shacharit, then Musaf. או ששכח ולא התפלל, or let's say he forgot and didn't pray, וצריך להשלימה בזמן תפילה, and he has to finish it time of tefillah. The tefillah afterwards, right? So that's the way it goes. If you miss one prayer, you got to make it up during the next period. And then, right, we do one after the other. So there is a time waiting period you got to wait. What's the time period? 4 amot. What does that mean? The time that it takes to walk 4 amot, which is like 2 seconds, right? Whatever, even less, whatever. So you do have to take a break of 2 seconds before you start your next prayer. That's what he's saying. Okay, so let's see the Bet Yosef here. It says, "Beso perek tfilat shachar." At the end of this perek, Lamed Amud Bet in Brachot, kama yishe ben tefillah tefillah. How long does he need to wait from one prayer to another? Rav Huna and Rav Chasta, these 2 rabbis said, Chadamar, one says, Kadesh titchonen dato alav. In order that his, he can be like concentrate again. The Chadamar, Kadesh titcholel dato alav. Right, so one says titchonen, one says titcholel. So now Rashi will explain, right? What's the difference between these 2 words? Here's Rashi, titchonen, what does titchonen mean? Dato, shetehet dato minushevet. That means you can concentrate, he's calm, clean. To pray with supplication again. Shetitcholel, what does that word mean? Lashon chilui, vehi. So it's really the same thing, right? The same concept. Right? They're just using different words for the same thing. Right? Synonyms, right? Whatever, yeah. Katvat Tosfot, says Tosfot, Daniel Kadesh Yalech Arba Amot. So Tosfot says it means that he has to be walk 4 amot, the time that it takes to walk 4 amot, which we said, right? It's 2 seconds, very short. That's what it says in Rabbeinu Yonah. So what does that mean? Don't rush from one prayer to the other, take a couple of seconds to catch your breath, as they say, right? Make sure you're back to, a concentrative mode again. Okay. So this Bet Yosef is also very short. So now we'll go to Shulchan Aruch. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, we're going to have to. Yeah, so there's one more Shulchan Aruch left here, which says like this from the last chapter. It says, Achar shesiyem Yudchet Brachot, after he concludes, right, the Shmona Esrei, 18 blessings, Kodem Elohai Netzor, before he starts Elohai Netzor, Yachol La'anot. Okay, we already did this. Let me just go on. I'm sorry. I'll bring this down and go to the next chapter. Okay. Okay, so it says in Shulchan Aruch, Hamitpalel shte tefilot. If you're praying 2 prayers, right, 2 amidas in a row. We do this, by the way, also the men. We do this Mincha and Arbit, right after the other sometimes. But there's always a gap because, first you have to say Kriyat Shema and everything. So there's always a gap there. So it doesn't really apply in that case, but it applies in the cases that I brought here, which is tzarich lehamtin ben zo lezo. So what you gotta do? Make sure if you're doing one amidah after the other, to wait, like as we said, kadei look the time that it takes to walk for amot, which is 2 seconds, right? As we said. Why is that? Because we wanted to get back into concentration. In order they should play in a supplicated mode. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the chapter. So now we'll go to the other chapter that we already started in the tour. Okay. So we'll go to Bet Yosef now. As we said, right, in the tour, we mentioned that whoever is absolved from Kriyat Shema usually is also absolved from Tefillah as well, same thing. So says Bet Yosef, Pashut hu decheman deptorim Kriyat Shema, they write down. So it says it's obvious. Why? Since they're absolved from Kriyat Shema, from the Torah, Kol Sheken Mitfilah, all the more so from Tefillah, right? Shahid Darbidrama, which is only rabbinical. So that's the idea. Okay. So then it goes on. The odef alehem chilufen oseh hamita. But so when it comes to this, right, changing the guard, when it comes to the funeral procession, the prayer is even more. Is even more lenient. Pashut b'mishnah resh perek shemeto mishmeto. It's over there. Mishnah Yudzayin Amud Bet. Rashi explains, Petorim minami tefillah, there's Rav from tefillah, the lav de right tahi, because it's not from the Torah, right? Tefillah, those 3 prayers that we do every day are not from the Torah, they're from the rabbis. But Rabbatenu Pirshu, the rabbis explained, Lefi sheyesh lehem od shehut, because they have more time to wait. Ve'lini reb she'en zeh lashon patur. So, but it says that's not really a language of being absolved. Rabbeinu Yonah, says Rabbeinu Yonah, katab, she'atam hayoter nachon. So he says the more proper reason is because mipnei sheb'tfilah tzarich litpalel me'omet. Because when it comes to tefillah, you have to pray when you're standing. Ve'enam yecholim lishhot kol kach. They can't, stay up that long. They can't. I'm sorry. Yeah, they can't wait that much. When it comes to Kriyat Shema, you can say it when you're walking, right? It's not so cumbersome. So therefore, right, it will be just enough to stand for the first verse. But they shouldn't, be held back from walking. Just a little bit, 1-2 seconds. And they're obligated. Therefore, they're obligated. Kitab Rambam says the Rambam, Perek Vav Minchot Tefillah. It's Perek over there. Kol Melavin et Hamet ve'apa pi she'en lamita tzorech behem. So he says, whoever accompanies the dead, even though they don't really need him, right? He's not needed because there's enough people without him. They're observed from the prayers. So it seems like you learned this from which you learned the Mishnah. Over there, Sham. נושא המיטה בחילופיהן וחילופי חילופיהן, עת שלפני המיטה ועת שלאחר המיטה, עת שהמיטה צריכה להן תורים, ועת שאין המיטה צריכה להן חייבים. So it says over here in the Mishnah that if they need you, right, you're patur. If they don't need you so much, you're chayav, right, in that case. But when it comes to tefillah, they're both patur. They're both absolved. Because we're not so stringent about tefillah, which is only from the rabbis. Pirush Rambam explains the Rambam. Beferush Mishnah in his commentary in the Mishnah. So it says if he wasn't from those people who were appointed, right, to carry the coffin, and also not the helpers, he just came to accompany them, to do the escort. He's obligated in Kriyat Shema, But he says they're all absolved from tefillah. That's because he says, you have to concentrate for that. You can't concentrate when you're in a funeral procession. But it says, doesn't seem from the Tur that only the ones who are actually bearing the coffin, right, are absolved. Whether it's in front or in the back. Okay, about Shara Melavim, but it says the rest of the ones who accompany Chayavim, they're obligated. Upashta the matniti nachi mashma. So it says the simple meaning of the Mishnah is like that. The elu lo ka'eh ala nosei mita. When it says right these and these, that's not talking about the people who are carrying the coffin. Ben shem lefanei or lechareh, whether they're in front or in the back. Shenizkeru berosh Mishnah, because they were already mentioned in the beginning of the Mishnah. Velo ashara melavim shelo nizkeru, and not on the rest of the ones who accompany that were not mentioned. But that the Rambam, so it says the opinion of the Rambam, dafal gav shayu minosei mita, even though they're actually carrying the coffin. Kivan sheachshav ein lemita tzorech b'hem, but since they don't need them now at this point, ein chiluk benam l'shara melavim. So therefore, there's no difference between them and the other people who are accompanying the dead there. Okay, so that's that piece. Now the other piece, right, which is more relevant for you guys. So women and the slaves are obligated for prayers. And also children that already are at the age of training. So where does this come from? Mishnah Sham, it's in the Mishnah, Kaf Amud Aleph, Nashim v'Avadim K'tanim Ptorim Kriyat Shema. So it says, that these three groups are, the women and the slaves and children are absolved from Kriyat Shema, Minat Tefillin, also from Tefillin, V'chayavim b'mezuzah. So they're liable for mezuzah, with tefillah, and also for prayers. Birkat Hamazon, also Birkat Hamazon, grace after meals. So explains the reason in the Gemara. What's the reason? So the reason why women are obligated when it comes to prayers is because it's you're asking your requests, you're praying for your mercies. So women also need mercies, right? They also need to ask for what they need. Rashi explains the chayavim b'tfilah rachamehi midrabanan tiknua af lenashim lechinuk ktanim. So it says, since prayer is a matter of mercies, the rabbis also decreed for women as well, and also training the children, as we said. Very good. So we'll go back to the Torah. There's a little more piece here. So the Torah says like this, right? If you have children who are already at the age of training, right, you have to train them for that, to accustom them to say prayers. What about a person who has seminal emission? Some say that even though it doesn't need to wash, even to bathe, with 9 cups of water, the Kriyat Shema for Kriyat Shema, he needs it, but he doesn't need it for tefillah. He doesn't need it for Kriyat Shema, but he needs it for tefillah. The Katav Rambam, that's what the Rambam says. But he says the custom is that we don't require anything for prayers. So, okay, let's read something else. So let's go to Bet Yosef now. So it says Bet Yosef, right? As we said, regarding the person who had seminal mission, and also, so Kabar Nitbaer calls it Siman Peichet. So this is already explained in chapter 88, right? We talked about that before. Okay, very nice. So we'll go to Shulchan Aruch here. So says Shulchan Aruch, Kol HaPturim Mikriyat Shema. Whoever is absolved from Kriyat Shema, Pturim Mitfilah. He's also absolved from prayers. Whoever is obligated in Kriyat Shema, Chayav B'Tfilah, right? He's also obligated for prayers. Except the ones that are custom, that are right accompanying the dead. And if they don't need them right now, even though they're obligated for Kriyat Shema, but for prayers they're absolved, right? Why? Because they're only the rabbinical, as we said. So then goes on Shulchan Aruch in Bet. Nashim ve'avadim ve'apapish b'torim Kriyat Shema chavim mitfilah. Right? When it comes to women and slaves, even though they're absolved from Kriyat Shema, but they are obligated when it comes to tefillah. Mipnei shehu mitzvot aseh shehi mitzvot aseh shelo hazman grama, because it's not really a time-bound mitzvah prayers. What does that mean? A person can pray any day, any part of the day, right? So he says, and also children who came to the age of training, we have to start training them for that. So, right, we already mentioned, right, that there's a dispute in the Rishonim how many prayers a woman has to do every day, right? According to Rambam, it seems like it's only one. According to Tosfot, right, they have to do like 3, like the men. And there's also other opinions, right? There's one opinion in the Mishnah Berurah that says they should do 2. So, right, at least try to do 1 like the Rambam. You know what I mean? That's the minimum. And if you want to be a real tzaddik, right, tzaddiket, whatever, so then do 3 or 2, at least 2, whatever. But the Mishnah Berurah says that women don't do the 3rd one, which is Arvit. Why? Because it's only optional, as it is. So that's why they're not really obligated. It's an interesting idea. But anyway, right, the point is, bottom line, is that once a day you can get away with that. You'll be all right. Okay, good. Let's go to Gimel. So yeah, I remember we talked about this before, but we're going to see this now. So it says, Misha Tarato Manoto. What about somebody who learns all day, right? Professional learner, right? Kegon Rashbi, right? Like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, right? So, if you think you're on his level, oh boy, you're mistaken. Right? So this is and his friends, Rabbi Elazar, right, his son, right? So he says they do stop for Kriyat Shema, but they don't stop for prayers. So if you're on the level of Rashbi, right, Rabbi Shimon, don't pray. Forget about prayers. Just say Kriyat Shema. That's enough for you. Okay. But he says we don't do that, right? We stop for prayers as well. Why is that? Because we're not on that level, right? In other words, even the ones who learn all day today, we're not on the level of those rabbis. You know what I mean? We're light years away. Let's put it this way, right? So we're not really there. So therefore, we do stop for prayers. We do stop for Kriyat Shema. So this is the rule today. You won't find in any yeshiva or kollel that they keep learning, and they don't do prayers. They do prayers everywhere. No such a thing like that. Okay, very good. That's the tour. So let's go to Bet Yosef. So says Bet Yosef regarding that. What's the source for this? The Perek Kama de Shabbat, right? The first Perek of Shabbat, Tanan. It says over there in the Mishnah, Mafsikin Kriyat Shema. They stop for Kriyat Shema, then Mafsikin Tefillah, but they don't stop for the prayers. Yokim Nala. So it says we established that, qualified that Yudal Hamudalev, but Divrei Torah, that they're learning Torah. The Tanya Chavrim Shayu Askim BeTorah. That these right big rabbis were learning Torah. Mafsikin Kriyat Shema. They do stop for Kriyat Shema. Then mafsikin tefillah, but they don't stop for tefillah. Am Rabbi Yochanan lo shanu ela kegon Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai v'chaverav. So Rabbi Yochanan says that's only talking about Rabbi Shimon and his friends, those big guys, because they don't stop learning for nothing, right? Forget about it. They don't want your money. They don't want your donations. They're not interested. All they do is learn all day, right? So therefore, right, they're professional learners. But it says we do stop for Kriyat Shema for Tefillah. The Katav Aran says the Ran, B'Shem Sefer HaMaor, right? And this is the name of the book. The Beleka Shehut Beyom Askinan. So he says we're talking about where there's no time in the day for prayers anymore. He says nevertheless, Kagon Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. These guys, rabbis like this, and mafsikin, they don't stop even if there's no time left. But it says, but Rabbi Yochanan said, right? But we're not on that level, mafsikin, right? So we do stop. So can you imagine? Rabbi Yochanan already said 2,000 years ago, we're not on that level. Okay, so all more so us, right? Where are we? Where are we going to get to this level? Lama mafsikin, right? So it says if there is time, then why do we stop, right? Maybe we should keep going until there's no time. So he says, the Torah kodem, what is before? Is it forbidden to study Torah beforehand? Rather, it's like we said. That's what it says also. Tosfot said it comes out like that. Also, right, if a person is doing communal needs, right? What about that? We already explained this in chapter 93, right? We said over there that they don't need to stop for prayers, right? If they're doing public projects. Okay, so it says in some of the texts, he says, he doesn't stop for amen to answer for Kaddish and Kedusha, but Taut Soferhu. So it's a mistake. The real place it should be is chapter 104. We already covered it there. The Sham Biatri, but I explained it over there. Okay, very good. So we're done with Bet Yosef. Let's go to Shulchan Aruch. So it says Shulchan Aruch, Misha Torato Manato Kegon Rashbi. Right? If you have somebody who's professional learner, right, like Rashbi and Chaverav and his friends, Mafsik Kriyat Shema, he stops for Kriyat Shema, Velo Tefillah, right, but not for prayers. Aval Anu, but he says we, forget about it, right? Mafsikin Kriyat Shema Tefillah. We stop for Kriyat Shema and Tefillah. Says the Rama, Ve'im Lamar Lacherim. אינו פוסק. ואם לומד לאחרים, אינו פוסק כמו שנדבר לסימן פ"ט, כל מקום פוסק וקורא פסוק ראשון של קריאת שמע. So Rama, right, brings down this story that we saw beforehand. Let's say if a person is giving a public lecture, right? So there, we don't need to stop for prayers, right? As we saw in that Gemara there. Like we brought that down in chapter 89. So what does he do? Right, as we said, right over there, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, what he used to do is just say the first pasuk of Kriyat Shema, and that was it. Continue the lecture, right? So they wouldn't even stop, for prayers or anything. This is what you do in a public lecture. But today, the truth is, nobody even does this, honestly. We never see anybody who does this today. They always stop right before the prayers and do the prayers, That's the custom today, universal. I can tell you right now. ויש לו שהות עדיין להתפלל ולקרוא קריאת שמע. So it says there's still time to do תפילת קריאת שמע, אין הפוסק כלל. So then he says you don't have to stop at all. In other words, if you still have time to do it, right, later on, you can keep going, right, no matter what. Okay, very nice. So that's the Shulchan Aruch. So we're done with this chapter. That's it. Not too bad. We knocked off 2 chapters already. Okay, so we'll go to the next chapter. These are short ones. Okay, so anyway, now we're going to Kuf Vav, right? 106. Okay, so says the Torah like this. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Safek vitpalel, Safek lo vitpalel. What about if a person has a doubt, right, whether he prayed or not? What does he do? Lo yochazar vitpalel. So the rule is he shouldn't go back and pray. Why is that, by the way? It's because since it's only rabbinical prayers, right? So we say Safek de Rabbanan Akel, right? We're lenient about doubts in rabbinical doubts. So therefore, we don't have to go back and pray again. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, but Rabbi Yochanan says, right? I don't care if he prays all day, right? No problem. He can pray all day. So he says, Rabbi Yochanan. So the Ri explains that Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan is only talking about doubts, right? When you have a doubt, so as long as you have doubts, you can pray all day, right? In other words, make it up, no big deal. But if he already knows that he prayed, then he's not arguing with Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Posek that he says, right, you should stop, even in the middle of the blessing. But Rav Alfas Katav Peresh, and the Rif explains that Rabbi Yochanan Davka B'Yachid Kamar. He's talking about an individual, right? Be'adata de Reshuta de Ashta Aviala Kemunadava, right? So then it's going to be like if he has to make it up. It's going to be like an optional prayer. Like an individual, right, who donates a korban, a sacrifice from his own free will. So here also you can pray tfilat nedava, right? Free will prayer, right? Which is not really obligated to do. Tzibur ben adata dechova, right? So, but it says when it comes to, if you want to do it, as an obligation, you're not allowed to do that. You can't do extra prayers. And what about the community, right? Whether it's obligation or not, they're absolved. The Kayalan tefillot keneged tamidin tikidum, because we hold, right, that the prayers were ordained corresponding to the communal prayers, right? Communal sacrifices. Just like the community doesn't bring, right, the optional sacrifices for the community. Also, we don't pray, right, the optional prayers for the community. So he says also the individual cannot pray an extra musaf. Just like you can't, right? You can't donate a korban musaf or musaf as sacrifice. And now what Rabbi Yehuda said, that he should stop, even in the middle of the blessing. Let's talk about a case where he started to pray, thinking that he has an obligation. ונזכר שכבר התפלל פוסק. Then he already remembered right in the middle that he already prayed, so he should stop it in the middle, right? Not continue, not finish it. שאם יגמור אותה דתא דחובה, הווה כמקריב שני קורבנות. So because he would finish it like that, right, with the intention of doing obligation, it's like bringing two temidin, like two communal offerings. ואינו יכול לגמור אותה, he's not able to finish it, הדתא דנדבה, right, with the intention of a free will offering, because he already started as an obligation, so you can't change your mind in the middle, right? You can't change the mode. Okay, good. Okay, I said a lot of Torah over here. So let's go to the Bet Yosef. So it says, right, Bet Yosef. He brings a source for all this. Perek Misha Meto, right? It's over there. Brachot Kaf Aleph Amud Aleph. Ve'ita tu hatam. It says also over there. Furthermore, Yamar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shemuel, right? It says this rabbi named Shemuel. Rabbi Yehuda. Hayal met b'tfilah. He was standing in prayer when he's karash yitpalel, and he just remembered that he already prayed. You know, posek. He should stop right there. Even in the middle of the blessing. Yamar Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda says, Amar Shemuel named Shemuel. If he already prayed and he went to the shul, he found the community was praying. If he can do something new in his prayer, he should come back and pray again. Right, return and pray again. Whatever. If not, then he should not go back and pray. So it says, I needed to learn both of these lessons, right? Because if you had taught me the first one, we're talking about individuals. Or the community. But the individual, right, regarding the community, it's like it's going to be like he didn't pray. Kamashman comes to teach you. It's not so. If you taught me here, that I didn't start yet, but over there that he already started, you may say no. Therefore needed both of them. Rashi explains, so what does it mean, individual? That if he prayed first, he was alone, right, at that time, and then when he forgot when he prayed that he prayed, and they started to pray, it was also individual. He was alone by himself. Or tzibur with tzibur, or community and community, ben berishonah, ben b'shniyah, and whether it's the first one or second one, haya imat tzibur, he was with the community. Kigon asara achar asara. For instance, 10 after 10 people. And he's put them together in both of them. So he forgot that he already prayed in the first minyan. Omer says, that's only if he has a doubt whether he prayed or not. But if he prayed for sure, no, it's not so. Why? That you should know that they don't really argue in the case where Ahad Yamar Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda said in the Shmuel, the Samuch close by, but it's Kar, Shit Palel, that he remembered that he prayed, this Posek stops there. Also, if he's able to renew something in his prayers, to introduce something new. The Sober Rabbeinu, so it says Rabbeinu holds that that according to Ri, that Rabbi Yochanan, below Chidush Hu, that this issue of Rabbi Yochanan is talking about that there's nothing new there introduced. Therefore, he says, therefore, only in the case where it's a doubt whether he prayed or not, that's when he goes back. mitpalel and prays. But if it's for sure, no, then it's not so. But if you're going to introduce something new there, even if he already prayed, could more like even if you already prayed. Like it says, Rav Yehuda, like it says everything in Shmuel, if he's able to do something new, in his prayers, should go back and pray. Right? And we're talking about where you already prayed. The mashma lishna, like it implies that language of he prayed. When he said, and he went to the synagogue. So whoever introduces something new there, even with yachid, even individual, he goes back and prays again. If he wants, even if he already prayed for sure already. And that which he mentioned, the community comes to teach you the law that we don't say, right, an individual as opposed to a community, it's like considered like he didn't pray. You don't need anything new there to introduce something new. Even if he prayed with the tzibur, with the community, he still needs something new there to introduce. בכלל העולה מדברי כולם. It's a general rule that comes out from all of these scenarios. שאין חילוק בין מצא ציבור שמתפללים. There's no difference whether he found the community praying, אם לאו, if not. לעולם אל יתפלל, he shouldn't pray anyway, either way. על ידי חידוש, by something new. לכן משמע ודאי, it seems, implies, for sure, שהיא סברת דרי, which is the opinion of the Ri. The Katab, the Mistama, since he wrote that apparently lo plige, right, Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yochanan doesn't really argue, Dama Rabbi Yehuda, which was said by Rabbi Yehuda, that if he's able to do something new between Aton and his prayers, Mishum Haki, he says, because of this, the Rabbi Yochanan besafek itpalelu. Rabbi Yochanan is talking about a case where it was doubtfully that he prayed. From Mike Rushia, the Rabbi Yochanan. So then, what's the question of Rabbi Yochanan? When he already prayed for sure, who biachid as an individual with Rabbi Yehuda. So it says, and the Rabbi Yehuda, the yachol lechadesh ba. According to Rabbi Yehuda, if he's able to introduce something new, there, but tzibur with the community, dafka, only with the community. So for sure, the Ri holds. He says the lo shani le Rabbi Yehuda ben tzibur le'achid. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't differentiate between community and individual. And now what Rabbi Yehuda said, that if he began to pray when his car shekva yitpalel, he just remembered that now, right, he already prayed, and then he should stop right away. That's even if he can introduce something new there. Because that which we say, right, that the this introducing something new, helps you, it works. That's only if you started with the knowledge, can like that. But if you're starting in the beginning thinking there was an obligation, so then doing something new was not help you. Therefore, he's got to stop right away. And if you're going to ask me, why didn't the Ri explain that Rabbi Yochanan, they were talking about that for sure he already paid. And by way of something new. And it's like it implies, like it implies from this words of Rabbi Yochanan, that a person could pray all day if he wants, right? No problem. The Beit Palel, But they were talking about he prayed for sure. They're regarding that. Shemitpalel vechozer umitpalel. He can pray again and again. Kol hayom kolo all day. V'ateki v'kihai de'amar Rabbi Yehuda. Like Rabbi Yehuda said, ha'itpalel v'nichnas l'bayit v'tekneset. If a person prayed and he came inside the shul, im yachol lechadesh b'davar. If he's able to renew, say something new there, ונראה לי דכיוון דלפלוגי ad Rabbi Elazar ata. So it seems to me that since it's coming to argue with Rabbi Elazar, mashma dehalevai shitpalel kol hayom. So it implies that which they said, that we wish that the people would pray all day. The kamar Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan dumya delo yachazor v'yitpalel the kamar. It resembles in the case where you shouldn't come back and pray. The Kamar that he said, Rabbi Elazar said, and when he doesn't go back and pray, the Kamar Rabbi Elazar, that this rabbi said, talking about when you don't say something new there. Also there, right, that which Rabbi Yochanan said, that he should pray all day if he wants. We're talking about that he didn't do something new. Rabbeinu Hai Gaon Katvo Rabbeinu Yonah Rosh, as all these rabbis wrote, Shehu Mefaresh, that he explains, that which they said that, right, we wish that a person would pray all day. That's talking about when we renew something. But if it's nothing new there, asur, it's not allowed. He brings a source from that which Rabbi Yehuda said. If a person, right, prayed, when he went into the synagogue, he's able to renew something there, but in his prayers, should pray. So you see that you're only allowed to pray when you renew something, right there. And that which he mentioned, that we're talking about the community. Why do you use that mode? Not because when you're an individual, you don't need to renew something. He took this as an extra lesson there, something novel, right? The tzibur, the lo aminan, that even the community, the lo aminan yachid the gabet tzibur, because we don't say that an individual regarding a community against the community it's considered like he didn't pray. She doesn't need anything new. Even with the community did something new. So this rabbi brought sources for Rabbeinu Hai, the Katvu Od, and he writes further, Deladat Rabbeinu Hai, according to Rabbeinu Hai, Dafka Kashyodea, Badai Shitpalel. We're talking about if he already knows that he prayed for sure. The Chozer Mitpalel Benedava. And then I was praying as a free will prayer. Tzarich Lechadesh Davar, Tfilato, he has to do something new in his prayer there. But if he has a doubt whether he prayed, Safek Lo Yitpalel, Keshechozer Mitpalel, when he comes back and prays, Ala Safek En Lecha Chidush Gadol Mizeh. Like when he goes back and prays because of a doubt, this is already considered to be something very new. Because that which Rabbi Yehuda said, that he stops, even in the middle of the bracha, of the blessing, even though he's able to renew something, because so he says the reason is because introducing something new only helps when he started beginning for that purpose, right? For that motive. When he started as with the intention to do obligation, and chidush mo'il lo, so then it doesn't help him. Afterwards, after connection, that's the only bit. So after all this, right, tells you this was a big discussion here, right? I'm sure we're all thoroughly confused now. So it says, right, you see from here that according to this, dat ri, dat Rabbeinu Hai, that the ri and Rabbeinu Hai, shavim hem, they're equal. Right? Regarding halacha. What does that mean? If a person has a doubt whether he prayed or not, so then if he didn't pray, right, in the case of a doubt, he can go back and pray. He doesn't have to do something new there. But if he knows for sure that he prayed already, he shouldn't go back and pray without introducing something new. Right? By the way, let me just ask you guys, do you understand what I'm saying when I mean to when I say introducing something new? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Could this be the kedusha that you have to pray with the community and with a minyan?
Right, but I'm talking about even if you're by yourself, right? So what does it mean to introduce something new? That means you ask for something new that you didn't ask before. You add some kind of a new, right? Some kind of a new request. Like the rabbi should feel better, after the surgery, whatever. Something like that, right? So, that you can do. That's what
already in the healing part, at least the Ashkenazis is where there's an addition there.
Yeah, you can put, in Shomei Tefillah, you can put anything there, right?
Uh-huh.
In the healing part. But in the Shomei Tefillah, you can put anything.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that, by the way, soon. Bezrat Hashem. We're going to get to that. Okay, so right, that's how it is with these rabbis. But it says if you're doing something new, you can pray again. Right? Call pa'amim she'yirtzeh. How many, as many times as you want. But if you start to pray with the intention that he thought he didn't pray yet, he made a mistake, right? And he's and then in the middle he remembers, oh gee whiz, I already prayed. Right, so then posek, he should stop. Afilu be'emsa bracha, even in the middle of the blessing, right? He's got to stop right there. He can't go any further, And even though he can, renew something there, right? Doesn't help you here. So in these things, we don't really differentiate. Then whether it's playing with the community, as we said, right? Or individual, it's all the same, right? So that's the halacha according to these rabbis. Okay, but we'll see if that's the halacha, right? In the Shulchan Aruch, we'll see what's going on. Anyway, it goes on. So he says it comes out that the only difference between these two rabbis is what? Regarding how to explain the words of Rabbi Yochanan. According to Ri, it's talking about where he has a doubt that he prayed or not. And without introducing something new. But according to Rabbeinu, it's talking about a case where you already prayed. The Chidush, he's doing something new there. Like the statement of Rabbi Yehuda. So if he's able to introduce something there new, and it's a doubt whether he prayed, then you have to say something new there. Right? Like we don't. So he says that we learn from just logic, right? He says, according to this opinion, because this is the biggest new deal, the new thing, right? You're saying a new prayer. But it says, but since we're going to halacha, these are equal, right? These two opinions. So it says then it's a wonder, right? Rabbeinu, how did he write the perush of the Ri only, or perush Arif and the Rif? The perush Rabbeinu Hai, and then he wrote Rabbeinu Hai. So it implies like there's three opinions here, but actually there's only two. וכי תמה דלא כתב דברי רי ורבנו, and if you're going to tell me that he only wrote the words of the Ri and Rabbeinu Hai Mishum Deika Benari Uleyan Dina, because there is actually something different about them between them regarding the halacha. Just coming to teach you that they explain the words of Rabbi Yochanan differently. Leta says this is not so. Why? So he says, you know why? Because a tour usually it's not his way to explain just matters of Talmudic discourse, right? To explain things like this, he just goes according to halachic issues more. So it's not really his way to do that. Ela b'may denafkam lan l'inyan dina, lo b'may denafkalan l'inyan perush. So in other words, the tour is not a commentator. He's a posek, not the same thing, right? Ashmua velo l'inyan dina. The old shelo haya lo leafsik b'sfarat arif. Also, he says you shouldn't have put the opinion of the Rif in between those two because those two are the same. Ben perush ri v'perush Rabbeinu Hai. Kevan deletarvayu salif dina bechadgina davna. The odd shekatav she'neim eno yod lechadesh davar. And also, if that which he wrote the Torah, if he doesn't know to do something new there, right? He forgot to pray for the rabbi, right? He forgot about that. The gam barilo, right? And it's also he knows for sure she'it palel that he already prayed. The Ratzeh yitpalel adata de nadava. Now he wants to pray, right? As a free will prayer, right? Donative prayer, right? Optional. Rav Hai and mitpalin nadava. So according to Rav Hai, right, we don't do this. We don't pray optional prayers without renewing something. You should have written that according to Rav Hai, you shouldn't do a donative prayer, right? Optional prayer without something new. The old kasher so it says also difficult regarding this. That Rashi also holds like this, this opinion regarding the din. But when it comes to the commentary, Hamamarot of these rabbis, sages, he also argues with all these commentaries. Because he explains that this statement of Rabbi Yochanan, even for sure, if he prayed, who was talking about even there? And it's saying, right, that he should pray all day. What do I care? Even without renewing something. He's arguing Rabbi Yehuda. That he says that if he's able to say something new, right, he should pray. But if not so, don't pray. Shkatav Bahag says Bahag Pasak Halachak that the Bahag paskin like Shmuel, Kishmuel, Bevadai Rabbi Yochanan besafek. When it comes to for sure, it's paskin like Shmuel. When it comes to doubts, he's not paskin like Rabbi Yochanan. So meaning what? That if he already for sure prayed, he cannot come back and pray again. Only if we knew something, made something new there. But if it's a doubt, so they can pray also without anything new. And if you're going to tell me, right, that Rabbeinu now was here dealing with commentary here, like Rashi, even though there's no difference in halacha, you should have written down Perush said, right? You should have written also the Perush of Rashi, commentary of Rashi. So it says, I found in the Rosh, they writes in the Tshuva, he says the Ri and the Rif, he brings them down. But Divrei Rabbeinu Hai, also Rabbeinu Hai, Kimosh Kitab Rabbeinu, like the Tur said. That's the way it is also in Rabbeinu Yocham. Seems from their words, that they were not really, they didn't have this text regarding Ri, they doesn't argue with Rabbi Yehuda. Only regarding what he says, Posek right, that he should stop. ואפילו באמצע ברכה, even blessing. אבל אמר דאמר, יכול לחדש דבר בתפילתו, regarding what he said, that he can renew something, right, in his prayer, regarding that he does argue. ואמר, יכול שוודאי יתפלל, אינו יהיה חוזר ומתפלל. That for sure, if he prayed already, right, if he prayed there already for sure, he doesn't go back and pray again. ואפילו על ידי חידוש, even by doing something new. לפי זה, right, according to this, טובה איכא בין ראי לרבנו היי. According to this, there's quite a difference between Ri and Rabbeinu Hai. Ela shikashe, but it says it will be difficult though. Right? Ulme dechad mimra de Rabbi Yehuda, right? Then the strength of one of the Rabbi Yehuda's sayings, tefei meidach, then the other will be more stronger than the other. The achada de aminan, and the one that we say, the la palik that doesn't argue, the achada aminan de palik, the one says does argue. The Shkatav Rabbeinu says also Rabbeinu wrote that divrei hakol in yodeh lechadesh davar. According to everybody, if he knows, right, to say something new there, matchil lechatchila pam acheret, he can start even lechatchila a second time to pray. Okay. Like the other statement of Yehuda. And it turns out that he stops like Rabbi Yochanan. I'm sorry. Turns out that he paskins like Rabbi Yochanan b'safek itpalel. When it's a doubt if he prayed. The mitpalel below chidush, he can pray without anything new. Because Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar that says sheim yachol lechadesh davar, if he's able to renew something there new, afilu badai itpalel, even if he for sure prayed, chozer mitpalel, you should still pray again. Ve'im ken, it's as if so. It comes out there's no difference between, right, in halacha, between Ri and Rabbeinu Hai. According to the din. So therefore, he says the question comes back to its original place, and therefore, right, that will be difficult. So therefore, right, he seems to prefer the first way that he looked at it, right? Not the way that the Rosh explains it. Okay. So I guess we'll stop here. It's getting late. B'ezrat Hashem, thanks for coming tonight. Be blessed with wealth, health, happiness, and be holy and happy. Baruch Hashem, tonight is Tu B'Av, it's a holiday, so have a happy holiday. It's a happy day for Am Yisrael, for good news, right? The good news is that we restarted the class again, right? After one day we missed. So Baruch Hashem, I hope you have more good news tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. So we'll see you tomorrow, just in case, right? And we'll continue. Chazak Baruch, Laila Tov, all the best.
Kavod harav, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.